Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sestra-Tainment.
Sestra-Tainment.
I'm Lenora.
And I'm Dee.
And we're coming to you today with everything entertainment.
Yeah.
Yep, whatever stands out to us stands out for the show. And today's show is going to be a little bit different because today we're talking about favorites.
Yes.
So I'm going to go through my favorites, and Sis is going to go through hers.
My favorites.
Yeah, so Sis, why don't you go ahead and go?
All right, so I'm going to go with my favorite TV show, The Simpsons.
The Simpsons.
It's been on for 90 years. No, not really 90 years. All right, so a lot of people don't know this, but The Simpsons debuted from the Tracy Ullman Show.
I did know that. I used to love the Tracy Ullman Show.
So the Tracy Ullman Show, but it was like only 60-second clips.
Yep.
But it was like 1987 when this was when they were on there. And then they got their own show in 1989 through Fox. So and then that's how they got into actually having 30-minute episodes. Yeah. So now it's the longest running animated TV show in the history at 31 years and counting.
Isn't it crazy though? Like, how do they keep coming up with stories is what I want to know. And I do remember it from Tracy Ullman where it was either like right before a commercial clip like break or right when a commercial break came back. Like they would just show this clip of these cartoon people. And you just
it was kind of like, you remember like TGI Friday? It was like, after these messages, we'll be right back. It was like that was like their little thing.
It's like a video short.
Yeah, it's a little short. But yeah, so apparently how it ended up starting off with the Tracy Ullman Show was that some of these guys were writers. Okay. And they were like writers and they were drawing stuff. So the guys who created that, they just took the voices of the two people that were on the Tracy Ullman Show, Dan Costello and who was it? Julie Kavner.
Okay.
Those two were people on the Tracy Ullman Show. And they were just like, hey, can you be like Marge and Homer? And they're like, oh, yeah, we can do that. I mean, it's like 60 seconds. No problem.
Right, exactly.
And then it's like, oh, now we have a show, so now we need you over
cast.
here. Yeah, we need a whole cast. So, yeah.
Interesting.
And the cast is, like, amazing. The cast, I mean, the one thing is that the cast have been working together for 31 years.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah, every's still been around the entire time. They didn't have to replace anybody?
Hank Azaria, I think he's gone.
Yeah, Hank Azaria went.
He left because of how the politically correct stuff.
Well, the cultural appropriation.
of him doing. But he did, I want to say that, I think they said he did like 30-something characters.
He did a lot of voices and a lot of different characters and ethnicities and things like that.
Yeah. But then it was just like, we can't have you do that anymore. So he was like, all right, I'm out. But all right, so you got, like I said, Dan Costello, Nancy Cartwright, Harry Shearer. I think everybody knows him from what was his voice on? He did so many things. He was on the Truman Show. I can't remember what the main one was that he does, but he was just like the main voice. But he's just like one of those guys that you see who like pops up in a movie and says something. You're just like, oh, I know that guy.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
And then you also have Yardley Smith, who does the voice of Lisa. She was also on. Was she on Herman's Head? I think she might have been on Herman's Head.
I remember that. Maybe. Yeah.
Then she might have been. I can't remember. I think she was on Herman's Head or something like that. But yeah, but she has that really like light voice, and it's so crazy because like I feel like Louise from Bob's Burgers, that is also my favorite animated show.
Okay.
I feel like Louise, the lady who does her character, it's just her regular voice. Just like Yardley Smith, she does Lisa, and it's her regular voice. They just have those voices that sounds like a kid. They just can't help it. Yeah, and then like I said, Hank Azaria was on there, but now he's gone. Pamela Hayden. It's a good Bart. Bart is Nancy Cartwright.
Okay, so that's Nancy Cartwright.
Yeah,
okay,
Bart
I
is
remember
Nancy Cartwright,
her because I forgot what show she used to be on. Yeah. But then I was like, oh, she's Bart's voice because it's just so.
She did a lot of
weird.
She did a lot of them because I think she also did. She did somebody else's voice, another child voice on some other animated show that she did a voiceover on that for. But then, like she said that, like how she explains how she goes through from going from one person to another. Okay. As far as like how her voice is and everything else, she can go back and forth. But yeah, so just talking about that. So how I see it is how it's like portrayed as the best and longest running is because of this. So it is the suburban family.
Yes.
Suburban middle class family. Let's say that. So now you have the father. Father's Homer. He's a husband,
Homer, yeah.
middle class, blue collar guy. He's not the brightest, but he loves his wife and his wife and his kids sometimes. Right? And like he does dumb stuff. You see it's funny, and then you're kind of like, oh, you sweet precious angel.
Bless his pudding heart.
Bless his pudding heart. And then you have Marge. She's a stay-at-home mom that does her best to keep everyone safe while she's keeping her sanity.
Right, and how she keeps her hair up that high is beyond me.
She maybe she mixed. You know what I'm saying? Maybe she's a part of a fro. You know what I'm saying?
Never know.
Maybe what it is. You never know. All right, and then you got Bart, who is just. He's the star of the show.
Bart, yeah, it's Bart's
show. It's the star of the show.
Yeah.
Which I come to find out that what it is that the man who made the show, Matt Greeting, I can't remember how to pronounce his last name, but it's actually about him and his family. So his father's name is Homer. Oh my his gosh. Mother's name is Marge. His sister's name is Lisa, and his other sister's name is Maggie.
Oh my goodness!
But he had Bart. He did the name Bart instead of his own name because he said it's a play on brat.
Oh, got it. So he was a brat.
He was a little brat.
Out.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's just a little badass. He torments his sister, always gets on his father's nerves, but he always disappoints his mother, like, all the time. And then, like, they're the only two that have those, like, heartfelt moments together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you have Lisa, who's the freaking genius.
She's a genius.
Still
plays her instruments.
Yes. How are you 8 years old and you're about to be, like, you're in an orchestra? Like...
Playing a saxophone.
Yeah, playing saxophone in an orchestra, with like grown people.
Now,
like
mind you, I haven't watched an episode of The Simpsons in probably 10 years.
Nothing's changed.
That's what I'm saying. That's how I'm just
technology is probably the only thing that's changed.
Yeah, and even then, I probably watched 1 or 2 episodes. Like, I just have never been a huge Simpsons fan.
When you watch,
at the beginning, do they still all jump on the couch?
Yeah, all that.
Got it.
But I wish that they upgraded to the flat screen and put it on top of the floor model. That would have been the best.
Perfect.
Yeah, that would have been perfect. That would have been perfect. All right. But here's one thing about Lisa. She sees her dad as her hero. She loves him. She's like, I love that man. But she's like, yeah, I also know he's not the brightest crayon in this box. And then, like, she loves him. She's like all about him. Yeah, that's her dad. That's her daddy. She sees her mother as like the backbone of the family, but she's like, she knows that her mom could do better. But she's just like, okay, And then she's like, it's an episode where she kind of gets scared about being a Simpson because apparently how they made the episode come out was kind of weird. And I'll get back to that. Let me do Maggie real quick. All right, so with Maggie she says so much without talking.
Yeah, all she does is suck on that
She's been
pacifier.
1 year old for 31 years.
I know, right? She should be married with kids.
Yeah. That, like, even, I think in 31 years, they've only had Maggie say, like, 2 things. I think it was, like, a Treehouse of Horror episode. She ended up being, like, an alien baby or something like that and said something. And then I want to say, she did say, like, dada or something like that. She said something small.
Yeah,
something slight. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But, all right, but she's super smart, too. Mm-hmm. She's super smart. Like, the things that they have Maggie do, like, Maggie will, like, she'll get out of the crib, she'll go down the steps, she'll be in the kitchen, she'll look at the dog and look at the cat, and then, like, get the dog and the cat to, like, work together with her so she can get up on the counter, so then she can go ahead and do this. But she's one. She can't talk, but she can do all this.
Get all this
smart.
Stuff. Yep.
So now it's like all the women are smart, all the guys are just not there. So, what was it? Season 9, episode 17, Grandpa tells Lisa, he was just like, hey, I just want to let you know, there's a gene that goes in our family that just, makes you dumber as you go, So, with that being said, now she's like, the whole episode, she's freaking out. She's like, oh my God, like, she's like, the older I get, I'm going to turn into my father.
Right.
And that's like her biggest fear because she's super intelligent. So, like, with that happening, then, like, as the episode goes on, then she starts to meet other Simpson women and come out that all the Simpson women...
Super smart.
Whole time. Yeah. All the men running into trees.
Oh my God.
Like full on speed, like running into trees, like just doing dumb stuff. But it is a definitely great show. I love the show. It's been on 31 years.
It's been on forever. Yeah. I don't know if or when it will ever not be on. And it does also do some predictions of things too. They have predicted. Yeah.
And I mean, the craziest thing is how it's like. You know how they always talk about, like, how the world has, like, a glitch and it's what is it called? A glitch in the I can't remember what it's called. Like in the Matrix, glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah.
So there is a video that has where the Simpsons show Trump being president going down an escalator in like Mall of America or something.
Yeah.
And then it's like people in the background that are screaming that have like they're
sign.
holding up a cardboard sign,
Yeah.
and then it slips out of their hand, it falls on the floor.
Right. And then that literally
And then you
happened.
watch it, and it literally happened in
exactly the same way. Yeah, I've seen that.
How does this happen?
I don't know. There's a glitch in the Matrix.
There's a glitch in the Matrix. I mean, but they predict so much stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's scary.
Yeah. And there's other things too, like I found out, like they had an episode with Michael Jackson in it.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, oh yeah, who did the voice for Michael Jackson? They were like, Michael Jackson did the voice for Michael Jackson. And they're like, no. He did not show
but
up
then
for the
he also what he did was, I know that they did make sure that he wasn't on the bill for his name or whatever. It was not Michael Jackson.
Right.
It was a other name. But yeah, I recently watched the episode. Yeah, I love that episode.
It's so
because
crazy.
Because how they make it is it's supposed to be a man who is mentally he has like mental health problems. Like he's supposed to be schizophrenic because he's going around telling everybody he's Michael Jackson, but you're like this big dude with no hair. It's like 300
You're
pounds.
You're not Michael Jackson.
Right. But Michael Jackson is doing the voice.
Right. Come on. Yeah, they definitely have a great team of writers to keep everything going, and just the creative genius of it alone, to think of new episodes 30 minutes a piece for 31 years, and how many episodes per season.
I know. And then they have a movie
right,
the Simpsons movie.
Exactly. Yep. So all right,
that's so much. But yeah, so the Simpsons, everybody still check it out. It's still a good show.
Yeah,
it's still a show.
Still a good show for anybody who's not watching any longer.
That's one of my faves. It's one of my faves.
All right,
awesome. What you got next?
Well, my favorite is I'm going to stick with movies for my choices today, and so I have Forrest Gump.
Hey, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so Forrest Gump is one of my favorite movies, to the point that if it happens to be on, I'm going to put it on. It'll be on in the background. I'll be washing dishes, cleaning.
It's on.
Or I'm just sitting there literally staring at it, almost quoting it word for word.
Yeah, you turn on your TV, TNT's on. It's on like the middle of the movie.
Yep.
I'm watching it
from here on the way out. Yep. Life is like a box of chocolates.
Yes,
exactly. So, but of course, Forrest Gump, I think probably 90% of the people in the world maybe have watched this movie, at least in the United States. And so, but it was in 1994 that it came out. Of course, it had Tom Hanks, Sally Fields, Robin Wright, Gary Sinise. So great cast of people in regards to the actual...
Daryl Hannah is her name? Daryl Hannah? Is that Daryl Hannah is her name?
No, you're talking about Robin Wright, Jenny?
Jenny is Robin Wright?
Yeah, that was Robin Wright.
I thought it was Daryl something. I don't know.
No, Daryl Hannah wasn't in this one. She was in Splash.
So I'm getting them mixed up.
Yeah, you must be getting that mixed up. I'm getting them mixed up. Yeah. Nope. So anyway, what basically the premise of this story is, it really has, number one, a lot of great sayings. I'll just start there first of all.
It's a classic.
So you have, stupid is as stupid does.
Absolutely.
You have, Mama always said, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
You have, me and Jenny were like peas and carrots.
Peas and carrots.
Yep. And then you have, run, Forrest, run.
Yeah.
And, then not to even mention everything like about Bumba Gump shrimp.
Oh, yeah. What?
And, the different types of shrimp.
My favorite quote, how you going to walk with Jesus, Lieutenant Diane? You ain't got no legs.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite quote.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. So it's so many quotes. But anyway, so the story really goes through a lot of different episodes of Forrest Gump's life. So you start off with him being, he's older and he's like reflecting on his life, sitting at a bus stop, basically.
Yeah.
And he's just sitting there, just waiting. So basically, he talks through a lot of different stories, from him being a little boy wearing knee braces, and he was bullied. So different people would try to like chase him with their truck, and he'd try to run, or kids on their bicycles, or whatever the case may be. So it started with bicycles, then moved to people in pickup trucks, and he's trying to get away from them. And
it's like the same boys, right? The same boys on bicycles,
yeah, I think so. Yeah. and then he and Jenny meeting on the school bus, and then you know how they became
Dear
fast
God,
friends.
Make me a bird so I can fly far away from here.
Yeah, exactly. So then you go through his life of him being, also as a little boy, how his mom had kind of the house open to different people. And Elvis
Elvis,
comes to the house.
And gets the dance moves.
And gets his dance moves from
Forrest Gump.
Because Forrest Gump is trying to dance with the braces on, and his legs are looking all cockeyed and crazy and everything.
Whoever thought of that is the smartest person.
It's amazing how they put all that together. Then you have his college football days where he's just running. And people have to yell stop.
Yeah, the band is like
yelling stop. The whole crowd.
The whole crowd has it says run Forrest, and then on the other side, on the other end zone, everybody's holding up their sign that says stop.
Yeah, so because he was just always a runner. He's like, he said no matter what I was doing in life, I was running. Like that's just what he was running. Exactly. And so then for college football, because they won a championship, he got to be the president, Kennedy, and they had him CGI'd in. And so then he goes to Vietnam. He becomes a hero. He ends up working with Lieutenant Dan and helped him get out of the fray of everything with the war, even though Lieutenant Dan, I can't even talk, lost his legs, and then he helped Bubba to get away because of the fact that he, was just trying to get out. Yeah, and then he got shot. So then he ends up doing paddle tennis and ends up being this champion. And guess what? Now he meets Nixon, the president. So he meets Nixon as a president. And so it's just this crazy, interesting story of his life and the ups and downs. He ends up being a shrimp boat captain. He ends up, and Bubba always loved shrimp, so Bubba was always talking about shrimp Creole, shrimp kebab, shrimp rice.
They're cleaning. How do you start off when they're meeting each other and they're on the bus going to like basic training,
right?
And they're talking about shrimp, and then like you can tell like it's progression of them now in basic training, and they're cleaning the floor with their toothbrush.
And he's still like, talking about
shrimp stew, shrimp boil. I think that might be
all the kind of ways you can make shrimp.
And then Forrest just looks at him and is like,
okay. Yep.
And then they go back to like brushing the floor.
And it's so funny too because like now there's a bubblegum shrimp restaurant.
Yeah, restaurant.
You know what I mean? Based on this movie, which is crazy. But they also go through, his life in college. When Jenny was in her college, him and Jenny's lives just always kind of passing in the night, so to speak. And then her Black Panther Party is covered in this movie. Vietnam and him being able to engage and be on a stage in front of the Washington Monument speaking, and him and Jenny reconnecting then. Him running like literally across America, basically. And why?
He's never stopped.
And then everything was always him helping people to understand certain things, like, when people were like, have a nice day. Well, they were like, oh, Forrest Gump was the one who came up with that saying. Forrest Gump is the one that helped Elvis learn how to dance. Forrest Gump is the one who did like so.
Forrest Gump is the one who made the
everything.
smiley face.
Exactly. Smiley face, wiped his face off, handed it to the guy and said, have a nice day. So then it became a smiley face with have a nice day.
He was like, man, you just stepped in some poop. And he was like, poop happens. Well, he didn't say poop.
Yeah, exactly.
And now it's
a bumper sticker. So everything was about Forrest Gump and what he offered to the world. No matter what.
And not even knowing how much of an impact that he made on the world.
What that he was having, exactly. And so at the end, of course, he always had his love for Jenny. It was very powerful. It's really beautiful, but very heartbreaking at the same time because, Jenny didn't really love Forrest like Forrest loved Jenny the whole show or whole movie. But, it's still really, really beautiful story. And so whenever it's on, I watch it. That's all I got to say. Like, it's 2 hours and 21 minutes, but it's so worth it. It's so good. And even though we covered a lot of things in this conversation, I think that if you've never seen it, which like I said, I feel like most people probably have. I don't know if most people have sat through it all, but most people probably have seen it. Then I would say just to make sure that if you haven't, watch it. I don't think you'll be disappointed. That's all I'll say. And it's a quick watch.
I was thinking about it. He met 3 presidents because he met Lyndon Johnson too.
Okay. So let's see here. I think that was all that I had there, but I do like that with Forrest Gump. It's all nicely tied up in a beautiful bow at the end.
It's
So
very
there's
much so,
nothing that you're questioning or wondering or needing to use your own imagination to figure out. It just all works out the way that it works out.
It's one of those long movies that's long, but you still want to watch it.
Right, and I can't think of parts of it that could be cut out. Like maybe some of the Vietnam scenes could be a little bit shorter potentially, but for the most part, everything that's in there really needs to be in there for you to get the full gist
of understanding,
Yeah.
Like, and then what's crazy about Forrest Gump is that when they make big movies, and then while they're like when they're making a multi-million-dollar movie, and it's like on the big screen, and then they talk about Forrest Gump in a movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like how many movies talk about Forrest Gump inside
talk about another
movie?
movie in a movie, right? Exactly. So, but yeah, so that's one of my favorite movies, Forrest Gump.
All right, I like it.
All right,
I love Forrest Gump too.
Back to you.
All right, so I want to talk about my favorite TikToker.
Okay.
Her name is Elyse Myers.
Elyse Myers, all right.
She's 24 years old.
What's her TikTok handle so people can follow
Elyse
her?
Myers.
Oh, just at Elyse Myers.
Yeah, at Elyse Myers. ELYSEMYERS.
Okay.
She's 24 years old, got a blue check. Boom, done.
Boom, okay.
So she's a web developer.
Okay.
She has her own like web design website and stuff like that. And then during quarantine, she started doing TikTok. But this is how she starts off. And I love her so much because she's just unapologetically herself.
Okay.
So she's like, it always starts off with a question. It's like, oh, how did I poop myself? Thank you. Great question. Let me tell you.
Oh,
and then she goes But then she starts off. She's like, "Oh, how did I have the worst day ever? Oh, great question. Thanks. Let me tell you." So I would love to answer that question for you or something like that. So I mean, but she is hilarious because she doesn't care like the stories that she talks about. She talks about her being prom queen, but like all these mean girls were trying to like put her name up to be prom queen as a joke.
Oh yeah.
But then she actually became prom queen. But at the time when she becomes prom queen, they call her name. She's nowhere around because they have a giant candy bar. There's a bar full of candies.
Oh, and she's eating candy at the candy bar.
And she's spinning cotton candy.
I saw that.
I told you that. Yeah. She said she's spinning cotton candy. And she's like, she comes up, and her friends are like, "Where were you?" She was like, "I was getting cotton candy."
Right. Exactly.
And they were like, "You just missed it. They called your name." She was like, "Wait, who knows this? Is this a joke?" And they was like, "No, like."
The whole school.
The principal came and was like looking for you. She was like, oh my goodness, okay. So yeah, but she is. I love her stories.
Okay, she's a good storyteller.
She's a good storyteller. Very animated. She sings. She has to have done some kind of acting or something like that, like in school. She had to be on like a drama team or something like that. 'Cause she is really good at like everything. She talks about her husband a lot, but her husband is never on there.
Huh. Okay. So you wouldn't know she had a husband if she didn't talk about her husband?
No. I mean, like, you see, like, she'll, like, have a video of, like, her and the baby, and, like, he's in the background.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
He just doesn't want to be, like, in it.
He's not in it,
So then there was one video where he was like, I'm going to pretend like I'm my wife for the day. Because he's, like, really, like a shy kind of guy.
Low key.
Yeah, so I could see him being, like, on the video, he was like, I'm going to act like I'm my wife for the day. He was like... Oh, how did I do this? Okay, thank you. Great question. Let me answer that. But then he's messing it up as he's trying to say it.
Right.
So, I mean, it's like really cute. They're making a really cute couple. Their baby is so freaking cute.
Aww.
Big brown head baby. Aww. Super cute. And I'm not saying because of their outfit. I'm just saying this is an actual
because
cute
it's
baby.
An actual cute baby, unlike our previous
previous conversations that we talked about. Yeah. But she goes through like what her everyday life looks like. She tells people how to like make TikToks.
Oh, okay.
She's like she tells people if you make TikToks and they look crappy, she said, do not delete them. Keep going on and keep making newer ones. Okay. She said, because if you delete them, then people are going to think that they can get on TikTok and it's going to be, oh, my TikTok's going to look like this person who has a blue check immediately.
Gotcha.
It's like, that's not how life works.
It goes much slower
it goes much slower than that. There's a lot of things that she talks about as far as how, like, she'll have a camera recording herself making TikToks, and then she'll have like a camera recording herself with like her doing her business meetings and all this other stuff because she has like endorsements. Like she's like really into this. Like she's worth some money.
She's probably making money from this more than her web development.
Yeah, I think once you get a blue check, I think that's when you rake in the money through
I mean, a lot of times it's like different companies now utilize you because you are an influencer.
Yeah, exactly.
And so they want you to influence by marketing and doing
and
all that, and they
that's
give
what
you
she
money
does,
for that. Yeah.
But she there's an article about her in Forbes magazine.
Oh, awesome.
Like the 24-year-old that has an article about her in Forbes magazine, and it starts off because she went viral from her first date that she had with this dude that went horrible, and then it was like a first date at Taco Bell. I can't remember the whole thing because I've watched all her videos many. Like I can't remember exactly.
So she talks about the first date. It's not like real time because she's with her husband now.
Yeah.
So
but she
just like her reflecting.
Yeah, her reflecting, like talking about like her childhood and stuff like that, and like high school and stuff. So it's like her talking about their first date. Like 2 million people liked it, and that was her first one. That she became viral, and then people were like, "Oh my god, you should be a comedian. Like you should do more stuff like this." She was just like, okay, so then that's how she goes into
her questions.
Oh, how did I poop my pants? It's a great question. Let me tell you. Or like, how did I find out that I was prom queen and didn't even apply? Great question. Let me tell you. You know what I'm saying? But no, she is really, really awesome. She's really so down to earth. I don't see anything like. She just seems like a normal person. She doesn't wear a bunch of makeup. Mm-hmm. She wears like big oversized sweatshirts.
She's just being herself. She's like, look, this is what I look like right now. I'm making a TikTok. Right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I feel like so many people feel like they need to project a perfect image. No matter what. Whether it's just them walking outside to go to the mailbox or the grocery store. Or if like you have to be perfectly on social media. Right. In regards to your hair, your makeup. Or can't go anywhere without eyeliner or whatever. And sometimes the best thing to do, I mean, if that's what you feel and that's who you are, by all means.
Yeah, do
but
it.
If it feels like a job to do that, then that's not who you are authentically.
That's not what you want to do.
Right. And therefore
like get paid to be yourself.
Right. Just be yourself and then figure everything else out from there because that's what people are drawn to.
Exactly.
Is the authentic piece, which is why you're so interested in her.
Yeah. Like she had this one where you see her brush, like holding the brush. She was like, she cuts the phone on and she's like, I just want you all to see this. And then she lets the brush go and it's stuck in her hair. Oh. And she's like, all right, so I'm trying. Nope, not that way. Nope, not that way. She said,
unravel.
All right, well, got some cut in my hair. Okay, thanks, guys. And then cuts it off, and that's it. And then she comes back next day, and then she's like, so this is how my hair is now. Oh, that I had to cut out this chunk.
Man. Yeah.
It shows the brush and her taking the hair out the brush. But so everybody check out Elyse Myers on TikTok at Elyse Myers, ELYSEMYERS. She is hilarious, and she's just a regular, everyday person. That's what I like about her.
Yeah.
Like, she's just cool.
No, makes sense.
I want to be your friend.
Aww. Your TikTok needs to meet her TikTok, and maybe y'all can be friends.
Yeah, maybe I should, like, actually put something on my TikTok.
Yeah, maybe that will help. Maybe we need to get a
Sestra-Tainment
and get our blue check and go from there.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Exactly.
Right, so what you got coming up next?
I said I wanted to do something a little funny because most of my favorite movies, since I'm focused on that, are very intense. Like, I mean, Forrest Gump can be kind of funny, but it's kind of sad too. You know, it has very touching moments. Let's say.
It's like a romantic comedy
dramedy.
Yeah.
It's a dramedy.
It's a dramedy.
Yeah. And so I said, I'm going to pick one that's just straight up silly.
Okay.
And that is In and Out.
I knew it was going to be that.
You knew it was going to be.
I'm pretty sure I know.
I'm pretty sure I know. You did not say it before I actually.
But I'm pretty sure I know what your third one is too.
I don't know.
Yeah,
my third one.
So.
You might know my third one. Yeah, I think you would probably know my third one.
Does it start with an S?
No.
Oh, I'm wrong.
Yeah,
then.
you're wrong.
Okay.
All right. So, In and Out, 1997. Picture it. Sicily.
I was just say that. Picture it. Sicily, 1997. Picture it. Richmond, Virginia, 1997.
There you go. But it is a movie that has Kevin Kline, Matt Dillon, Joan Cusack, and Tom Selleck as some of the main characters. And it is an interesting movie. So it is about a man. It kind of starts off this man, him and his fiance are engaged, which is Kline and Cusack. And they're all gathering around because a young boy who was in that particular community is now at the Oscars and he's up for an Academy Award and everybody's so excited.
Yeah, everybody's excited, yeah. The hometown's all excited.
Everybody's around their TV and the entire, like the bars, the homes, like everybody's around their TV. And so that young man who used to be in the community is Matt Dillon. So he gets on the stage because he wins. They call his name. Everybody's jumping around. They're so excited. And he's doing his acceptance speech. And then he finally says, and then my teacher, my drama teacher from high school, Mr. And I didn't even write down what his name was. But anyway, but Mr. such and such. And he's gay. And so everybody is like, what? And he is even looking like, what? And his fiance is looking like, what?
Yeah,
so everybody is like, what is going on? So the whole community is watching this. And the thing is Matt Dillon's character, what he was up for the Academy Award for, was him playing a gay man.
Yeah.
So therefore, he was trying to say, this is where I got my inspiration, was from my drama teacher in high school, and he was gay. Well, the drama teacher did not know that he was gay. So therefore, that's when kind of the whole story ensues. And when I tell you, I mean, I have literally watched this show, this movie, 15 times probably. Like, at a minimum. At a minimum. Like, anytime it's on, sometimes I'll just search for it when I just have
This is your Tropic Thunder.
Yes,
Tropic
definitely. It's just a fun, lighthearted movie to watch. And so basically it goes through the story of, the teacher and him like, why in the world would he think I'm gay? I don't understand what's going on. The fiance, are you gay? We're not really that intimate with each other, I'm trying to lose all this weight because I thought it was because I was heavy, and now I've lost all this weight and you still don't want to like be around me like that. Then it's like all these other people are like, no, I don't think he is. What do y'all think? Like everybody, like it's the talk of the town of everybody trying to figure out if he is or if he isn't. And oh, by the way, because of the fact that this happened on a national stage, reporters start coming in, which includes Tom Selleck. So he comes in and he's just trying to get to the bottom of the story about this gay teacher who ended up supporting,
and inspiring this actor to be.
And he's like, I'm not gay. And Tom Selleck's like, okay, well, and he's just trying to get to the heart of the story. And so what ends up happening is that throughout the show, I keep saying show because I keep talking about shows most of the time, but throughout the movie, he actually starts realizing things about himself. And he's like, he'll just be talking and his hands will be moving a certain way. And he's looking at him like, I can't do that because that's probably why people thought I was gay. Or, whatever. And then I won't say if he's gay or if he's not because it's called In and Out. So it's like, is he in or is he out? But basically, it's such a good movie. And it just shows like how even... I guess, part of the challenge of it, especially in the 90s, is that in this movie, there are some people who, of course, are like, if he's gay, then blah, 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 people are going to be upset about it. But then you have other people who are like...
He should not be working with children.
Right, exactly. But then you have other people who are like, yeah, so what? Like, who cares? So it's all these different scenarios that kind of come up. But in the end, another movie that has a great, closure and package in the end of wrapping it all up. And like I said, I don't want to give it away for anybody who hasn't seen it, but I will say that Matt Dillon does come to town. Mm-hmm. Once he realizes the drama that has unfolded, he kind of comes to town and wants to help rectify things. And then that even takes a different kind of path, that you weren't probably expecting. So anyway, that's my movie, In and Out. It's
that's
nice,
like your favorite movie,
fun.
Right?
Lighthearted. I mean, it's a top 5. I can't say it's favorite because just depending on my mood.
Is it your favorite comedy movie?
Probably my favorite comedy movie. Yeah, because I had to think because I was like, okay, this is a comedy that's funny to me. But at the same time, because I'm not a big romantic comedy kind of person, so that's why I was trying to think of what other comedy have I watched.
Not big rom-com.
I'm not big on the rom-coms. I'm not big on even Medea type movies and things like that. So it's like when I think of comedies, I'm trying to think of what else would be in the category of what I would consider funny. And
You don't really find much funny.
I do not. Yeah, that's
most
a problem.
comedians bore you.
I have gone to see comedy shows and not laughed once.
Well, except for the Raging Cajun.
Love the Raging Cajun. Shout out John Morgan.
Excuse me.
Shout out John Morgan. He is hilarious. He literally had me crying. The Raging Cajun, look him up on YouTube. He had me laughing. And when I met him afterwards, we ended up like I got to meet him backstage or whatever you want to call it afterwards. And we literally took a picture together that was like a prom picture. Like he stood behind me, put his hands around my waist, and like we both smiled. And I was like, oh my God, this is even hilarious.
That's funny.
So Raging Cajun cracked me up. Aries Spears cracks me up. And that's just because of all his impersonations of like Snoop Dogg and Jay-Z and
I think
like
that's the only
Shaquille
thing.
O'Neal.
I don't really find him that funny, but
his impersonations in person are really funny. But other than that, you're right. I don't really laugh a lot. So when I go to comedy shows, I do have to tell people like, hey, y'all enjoy. I'm sitting here for the wings. And,
I'm sitting here for the wings and the 2-drink minimum.
Exactly. And y'all enjoy yourselves. I'll be over here not laughing and just ignore me. So anyway, but that's my number 2.
And that was number 2. All right.
2.
So my number 3. All right. This is going to be my favorite comedy actress.
Okay.
Melissa McCarthy.
Okay.
Got to be
Melissa McCarthy.
Come on.
She is pretty.
Come on.
Ridiculous.
I would love to see. I would love to hang. If I had her, Kate McKinnon, and this chick Elyse Myers all hanging out together with me, it would be the best day of my life.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Best day of my life.
There you go.
All we would do is just sit around in a room and look at each other and just talk. And it would probably be the funniest thing. I would probably pee in my pants.
Oh my gosh!
From laughing so hard. I mean, I'm just saying because you have 2 of the really funniest women in the world, and then you have somebody who is like I said, unapologetic yourself,
right? And it's funny,
and you're funny,
right.
And like the situation that happened to you that with your childhood that you like now look back is like that actually was kind of funny. It was traumatic at the moment. Now it's hilarious. Gotcha. But I don't care what anybody says. Melissa McCarthy, funniest woman alive.
Okay. So what about her? I mean, well, what did you have that you wanted to talk about?
So,
with her?
All I just wanted to talk about is how she plays this character in movies.
Okay.
Where it's like not really the same person, but the same person. If you get what I'm saying. So what I mean by saying that is she always is either going to be a total asshole, being funny, or just a total asshole being an asshole.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
I mean, I guess.
Me and my friend Eleanor, we've had this conversation like this before. Okay. It's like,
so, I mean, can you give some examples of what is her being? Well, I won't curse, but
yeah. A butthole.
Okay. Whatever.
Right. All right. So I would say this: top movies of hers. I'm gonna say it like in this order. What I've seen as my top movies I would watch for her: Bridesmaids.
Yes, classic, instant classic.
When she kicks her leg up, she was like, "Do you feel the steam from that undercarriage? Come on."
When I was like, is that really her leg?
I was like, how'd she kick her leg up like that? And I'm just like, and I'm looking, I'm like, that's really her leg.
And in the bridal shop.
Yeah, in the bridal shop. Don't look at me. Yeah, look away. Yeah. The Boss.
The Boss.
The Boss.
I did watch The Boss.
Yeah. The Boss, hilarious. Heat. Her and Sandra Bullock.
Never watched it.
You never watched? Oh, okay.
I never watched it. Yeah.
You definitely gotta watch that one because it's like Sandra Bullock is the by the book cop,
of course, yeah,
and she is just I'm a police officer, but I will cuss you out and beat you up and then arrest you for me having to beat you up.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Got it.
But it's just so funny. It's like so that's that kind of character. Yeah. Or like Boss, she's the kind of character. So that's what I'm saying. Like she's still playing in Bridesmaids and Boss and in Heat. She's that.
She's a jerk.
She's a jerk. Yes,
I
was trying to think of a different word. Yeah, she's the jerk.
Right, but she's funny being a jerk.
Yeah, but it's funny. Yeah, it's funny.
Wasn't she in Identity Theft too?
I was about to say Identity Theft is another one.
That one too. Yeah.
Identity Theft, Life of the Party.
Never saw that one.
Life of the Party. She's with her husband.
Okay. Yeah.
Married to her husband.
And
her husband treats her like crap. Drops her daughter off at college. On the way back, he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm getting a divorce from you. I'm going on vacation with this."
I remember seeing a trailer for that.
Yeah, and then she ends up going back to school because she stopped going to college for her husband.
Oh, yeah.
So he can go ahead and get his business together, and now he's just like treating her like she's nothing.
Right.
So yeah, with that one. So, but then when she goes back to college, now she's like in the dorms with her kids in the dorms.
Yeah.
And then she's going to the parties, and then everybody's like, she's like cleaning up. She's like showing people how to like blot their clothes when they spill. You spill beer on it. You spill wine.
Let me get that for you.
Yeah. So she's like the house. She's like the college house mom, but it's also like she is the funniest person there.
Right.
You know? What is the other one? Tammy. Hilarious.
Okay.
Tammy is funny. She has Susan Sarandon as her mother in that one.
Oh, I saw a little bit of that one. I don't think
That hilarious. Ghostbusters. She did a great job with Ghostbusters, and it was her and Kate McKinnon in it.
Right, exactly.
Come on.
Two of your faves.
Come on. Mm-hmm. And then Happy Time Murders is going to say, I'm going to say that's my least.
I don't even know that one.
Happy Time Murders is the one where she's with the Muppets.
Yeah,
she's with the Muppets. It's still funny.
Okay.
She's still funny.
And what was that?
But the Muppets are the thing that's just.
I thought I saw her in something recently where the bird kept attacking her in the yard.
Oh, that's Starling. I've seen all these movies, by the way.
No. I was.
But yeah, that's Starling.
But I started watching it, but then I was like,
Starling's not a comedy.
No, it's serious.
It's a serious movie.
It's a serious movie.
It's a serious movie.
Got it. I just remembered something with that happening, and I was like, oh, I don't think that was on her list.
But she always plays this role where it's just like, she's just a funny person that's a jerk, but then she's like sincerely funny. Like she's just funny.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I love
it. Like even with Boss, she was a jerk. But then, like when she had that mouthpiece in her mouth and she's trying to talk, and it's just like, oh my gosh.
It was like, who's on second? Who's on third? What's on second? Who's on third? And it was like, have you seen my baseball? I can't remember. I can't remember what they kept saying over and over again. But it's so funny. I think she's just hilarious.
She's just
I feel like she like. And the fact that she was on Gilmore Girls as like the chef Sookie on Gilmore Girls, like
I didn't really watch.
She wasn't even funny on that.
Yeah, she was just being a serious.
She was just being a serious person. She was just like the lady who just had all the knowledge that was in the background.
Well, I was going to say, two things people might not know about her. I feel like almost everybody does, but I'll just put this out there. One, she's cousins with Jenny McCarthy. Mm-hmm. And people might be like, oh, duh, McCarthy. I should have known that, whatever. So they're cousins. Yeah. The other thing is that every time you see the guy like in Bridesmaids with the mustache or the guy with the mustache who's always in all her movies, it's her husband in real life. Yeah. And so I think most people know both of those facts, but I just wanted to kind of share
And then it's so crazy. I remember like when I was younger, Melissa McCarthy used to be the funniest thing. Like, that was her thing. She was funny. Where is she now?
Making Starling.
No, I'm sorry, not Melissa. I'm sorry, Jenny McCarthy. It
Oh,
was like
Jenny
the funniest
McCarthy.
thing.
Yeah, I think she's doing some, like her and Donnie had their own show together, and she might be doing a podcast.
Yeah, but it's nothing funny anymore. She was like a comedian. Now she's not like doing. She's not nothing's funny. Like that's it.
I think that
because
everybody,
Melissa came through and dominated the McCarthy
But I also
name.
think that everybody has their moments and their cycle. You know what I mean? And so I don't know if this is Jenny McCarthy's cycle to be like in the headlines, in the news. I think that she has something going on. You and I might not know what it is. Could be a podcast that's very popular. Could be whatever. But we just might not know.
You should see. But like she back in the day, she was on everything.
Yeah, she was on a lot, and a Playmate.
Yeah, and Playmate. Yeah,
and
exactly,
a Playmate.
Yeah.
So there was definitely.
And how many comedians are Playmates? Just saying. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
How are you gonna be a comedian and then be on like you're gonna be a comedian on like Jay Leno and then you're like the Playboy pinup like for the next month? It's just it's crazy. Yeah,
that's true.
But no, Melissa McCarthy, she is so funny.
Yeah.
And you can tell she doesn't try. She doesn't try to be funny when she's doing these characters.
Right.
You can tell that she's probably just acting, and she's just like, I'm gonna do this, and then she does it, and then she probably like, I just want to see outtakes. Yeah. I want to see bloopers. If I can see a blooper reel of everything that she's ever done, it will probably be the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It would make you, cry laughing probably. Yeah. But Jenny, I looked her up.
Yeah.
Masked Singer. I totally forgot. She's on the Masked Singer.
Oh, she's on the Masked Singer. That's right.
What she's been doing lately. She's on there, and she used to occasionally do the Ryan Seacrest bringing in the new year. I think they still call it Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve or whatever, but she used to be the person helping to bring in the new year. I don't think she did this past year, but typically she's on there
Dick
too.
Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve featuring Ryan Seacrest?
Correct, something like that. But yeah, so I had to look it up because I was like, I know she's doing something.
Yeah. I forgot all about that.
But that's what she's doing, the Masked Singer.
You know what I hate? I'm not going to say I hate. What I don't like is that I feel like people that are like doing like the Masked Singer and doing So You Think You Can Dance and like stuff like that. I feel like those judges like do they just want to check? Do they actually care? Or they just like, I'd like to have some extra money. I'll go ahead and do it. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think that So You Think You Can Dance, those folks are dancers. Like, it's J-Lo, it's Neo, it's people who understand the choreography of dance. However, for the Masked Singer, I think it's just whether they sing, like they're lip syncing. No, they're really singing. I'm sorry,
yeah,
but they're
really
just
singing.
covered,
yeah.
and you don't know who it is.
Yeah.
So I think it's more like you don't have to be an expert at anything other than trying to figure out who you think this is, and some of that's even fake, where you're just like, oh, it's Beyonce. Beyonce is not going to be on the Masked Singer, like in any realm, in any matrix.
Yeah. But Patti LaBelle was on there, though.
Patti LaBelle was on there.
What surprised me.
And the Empress.
Dionne Warwick was on there.
What's Dionne? I didn't remember.
I think Dionne Warwick was on there because I swear that she just stood there the whole time and sung. And then when she was done, I thought they just like lifted the thing off.
Yeah, she could have been. I might have missed that one. I know Gladys Knight was on there for sure. Yeah. So, but no, they've had some great Seal. They've had a bunch of great people on there. Joey.
Yeah, T-Pain.
T-Pain, like different people. So yeah, it's interesting to watch and just try to figure out who the heck is singing like that. I really want to know. But anyway, so
but Melissa McCarthy, everybody check her out. Like she's just funny. She doesn't try to be funny. It's just natural.
Okay,
and I think that's amazing.
All right.
Yeah.
What did you think was my third?
I thought it was gonna be Shawshank Redemption.
I knew you were thinking that when you said an S, but it's not Shawshank Redemption. Okay. It was on my top 5 list, which I do have it listed as an honorable mention.
Is it The Green Mile?
Why are you? Stop it!
Is it really?
At least say it first.
No, I was just joking.
Yes, it's The Green Mile.
Is it really?
Oh. Thanks, Dee. See, this is what baby sisters do to you.
I know.
They steal your shine. They steal your thunder.
No, I was like, I thought it was Shawshank Redemption, and when I asked you it was with an S, you said no. So I was like, what else could it be?
All right. Well, let me talk about it, and let me talk about it.
I'm gonna be quiet.
And I was gonna say honorable mention for Shawshank because I truly do love the Shawshank Redemption. Yeah. It is such an amazing movie. Another one that once it's on, I just leave it on in the background. And another honorable mention, Love Jones.
Love Jones.
Because that's in my top 5 too. Yeah. It's Lorenz Tate, Nia Long, one of the best neo-soul soundtracks ever in the history of life. Like you can buy it now. Everything's classic. Everything still sounds fresh. Yeah. It's so good, and I still play it on heavy rotation, and that came out in the 90s. So, but I do love that, and that's like a black love story, and just how relationships ebb and flow. And Shawshank, I think a lot of people have probably already seen that, but just about some men in prison and life in prison, and did you do it? Did you not do it? And plans of escape and all those fun things. So anyway, The Green Mile, as I was going to say.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not. Anyway.
No, you're not.
But The Green Mile, 1999, that one came out. Funny enough, it's the same director as Shawshank Redemption, but it is a Stephen King movie, which I didn't know initially when I first watched it. But it has Tom Hanks. It has Michael Clark Duncan. It has Sam Rockwell, David Morse. Like all these names are people that you probably know in some way, shape, or form. Bonnie Hunt, Gary Sinise. And just a really all-star cast of people that sometimes you don't know what their name is, but you see them and you're like, oh, yeah, I know who that person is. Yeah. So anyway, it starts off with, and of course, Michael Clark Duncan, before I even go any further, may he rest in peace. He passed away a few years back. But basically, it is a movie about prison, so this ain't Shawshank really, but and the relationships between the prison guards and the prisoners, especially when the prisoners are kind of on death row, basically. Yeah. And so they are the ones who are kind of on, they call it the Green Mile because of the fact that the last mile that you're walking basically in your life is going to be in this particular facility. And oh, by the way, the floors were like a limestone, and it was greenish color, so therefore they called it the Green Mile. So basically, they said that, for the most part, these guards, they're really just watching the prisoners. They're trying to keep them calm. They're not trying to be their friends per se, but they're just like, look, we don't want to aggravate these men. We don't want to, the worst thing you can do for a bunch of violent criminals is to aggravate a bunch of violent criminals. So let's just try to make sure their last days are just
because they have
as
nothing to
calm
live
as
for.
possible. Right, exactly. So why push them? So Michael Clark Duncan plays John Coffey. So he always says, like the drink, just spelled different. Or no, just not spelled the same. That's what he says. Like the drink, just not spelled the same. So John Coffey, Coffey, is Michael Clark Duncan, and he's huge. Like they literally show him getting out of the back of like a paddy wagon looking van, and the whole thing lifts up when he gets out of it, because they're like, how many people do they have in that van? And they see one guy get out and the springs pop back up, and they're like, oh my goodness, he's huge. So then everybody's like, but you're huge, and he's like, no, he's huger than me. And everybody has to look up to him because he's just this big guy, to the point that even when he's laying in the bed, he looks like he can't even fit in it because he's just so big.
Looks like he's in a toddler bed.
Exactly. And so the story kind of goes where he supposedly killed these two young girls. And they show a clip of him, sitting with these two young girls, and they're dead, and he's crying and like uncontrollably crying. And they end up, of course, arresting him and taking him to prison. And that's how he ends up being on the Green Mile, as somebody who's going to get electrocuted. And so basically what they do in this movie is show almost like a supernatural situation going on. So for the most part, you have Tom Hanks from the beginning. He has like a urinary tract infection, basically. And so he's trying to just
Was that what it was? I didn't know if it was that or if it was
I just watched it.
Stones.
I just watched it.
Okay.
Again. Again. Yeah. So he said that it was like a bladder infection, urinary tract infection. Okay. And so basically, John Coffey was seeing him in this pain, and he was like, boss, can you come here? I got a question for you. And so he walks over there, and basically John Coffey grabs him in that area, and he's like, John, what are you doing? And he's like, basically John's telling him, like, calm down, I got you. And then all of a sudden the lights in the place start flickering and going crazy and all this stuff. And then he's just like sucking something out of, the prison guard, Tom Hanks' character. Edgecombe is his name. So anyway, or Paul. So anyway, so then Paul steps away, and John Coffey is like starting to cough, like
he's coughing a lot, yeah.
And then all of a sudden he opens his mouth, and all of these embers, like ash.
Yeah, because I was trying to figure out when I first saw it, I was like, is that flies? Is that
bees?
It looks
like little gnats or something, but it's basically like an ash that comes out of his mouth. And then Paul realizes, you know what? I do feel better. Like, maybe I should try to go to the bathroom and see how I feel. So he goes to the bathroom. He's like, oh, my gosh, this is amazing. Like, this is wonderful.
He's like moaning.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, my gosh, this is so great. So then he realizes, wait, John Coffey has some powers here, and that's very interesting for a guy who's supposedly a murderer. So then the story kind of goes like, is he a murderer? Did he really do this? What's going on? So then you have this guy Percy, who works at the prison as well.
Poissy.
And he's the jerk.
Yeah,
because everybody has like that accent for some reason.
I don't know how you put a W in a Poissy.
I have no idea, but Percy Wetmore, I can't even get it out, by Doug Hitchinson. So he is somebody that if you see his face, you'll recognize him as well. Yeah. He's a short person, complex, like that's how they just wrote the character. And so, oh, by the way, his uncle is the governor. So that's how he got the job, and he feels like he can be as much of a jerk as he wants because who's going to challenge him? His uncle's the governor. So therefore, he's in there just tormenting the prisoners. And so you have one, Jean Delacroix, who actually has a little mouse that he's been entertaining called Mr. Jingles. Yeah. And so Mr. Jingles happens to get out of Delacroix's, cell.
Delacroix.
Yeah, Edward Delacroix. So, but he ends up getting out of his cell and walking into the main area.
Mr. Jingles.
And Mr. Jingles, I guess I should say Percy just steps on Mr. Jingles.
Oh, I know.
And it was horrible.
Oh my God! Did you feel what I felt?
Yeah,
Did you
because you're just like, because Mr. Jingles, he's
know.
just crawling on one side, crawling on the other. I know people don't like mice or rats or whatever, but
then he had the spool, and he's like playing with it and everything.
And he's rolling it across, and they're talking because Delacroix is the next one to get, you know.
Yeah, I'm going to change your mouth.
Going to go to get fried, I guess you would say, because that's what they kind of called it. And basically, he was like, well, what are we going to do with Mr. Jingles when I get fried? And they were like, oh, well, you know, we're going to take him to Mouseville.
Yeah, Mouseville.
It's a place in Florida. And we're going to do this and that. And people got to pay like a nickel to see him and a couple pennies for the kids. And, you know, he's like, oh, yeah, that's the perfect place for Mr. Jingles because he does all these tricks and blah, blah, blah. And then Mr. Jingles gets stepped on. So then John is like, bring him to me. It might not be too late. I might be able to take it back.
Yeah, all you see is
always said is I can take it back. I was trying to take it back. Let me take it back. And you're always wondering, what does take it back mean for John Coffey? So lo and behold, Mr. Jingles is in his hands, and all of a sudden the tail starts moving, and Mr. Jingles is totally okay. And so he runs back across to Delacroix, and Mr. Jingles does, you know, and Delacroix says, oh, thank you, merci beaucoup, you know, whatever. Like, I just thank you so much for helping my, you know, my mouse. And basically everybody now in the whole, like, guards, all of them are
looking
like,
at him.
oh my gosh, this guy is a miracle worker.
Like, is this Jesus?
Exactly. And that becomes part of the storyline is what do you do when you are supposed to kill someone who is a miracle worker, can save lives, can save people? And although they are saying that he is someone who murdered 2 children, did he really do it? Or was he trying to take back something that somebody else did and he's just falsely accused? And how do you, like, even, you know, Paul would say, how do I meet my maker at the golden gates, and upon my death and my demise, and how do I justify that I literally took away one of his miracle workers that was walking around on this earth? And that's kind of where this whole story kind of just continues to build and grow. And you know, is this reality? Is it not? Who do you tell? Who do you not tell? Who can be informed? Who's going to maybe try to use it for good instead of, you know, it's just such a
it's a lot,
powerful, good movie.
Yeah.
It has a lot of undertones because it is based in the 1930s, I think. So it's a lot of racial undertone. They use the N-word in this. So, you know, for people who that triggers, you know, it may not be the right thing for people to watch. But for me personally, it just showed that there was this man who, you know, in this world, you know, the world of the movie, you know, walked the earth, who is able to correct all the wrongs. And like he said, like, people are always going against each other every day. Like, he's like, every day people are against each other. It's all over the world. People are trying to have a war. People are trying to fight with each other. People are trying to use love of one against the other. Like,
I was about to say, isn't that what he said? He said hurt them because of that, for their love for each other.
Yeah, for the love. And so it's just one of those things where it just puts things in perspective in regards to the world we live in and everything that's going on and all of that, and just knowing that, hey, there's somebody who can help to rectify all of this. And do you put them in that chair and electrocute them?
They should have put Percy in that chair. Okay.
Oh my gosh, well, Percy,
because when they went to go roll on one for the Deadwood Delacroix, boy, I was so mad.
I didn't even So definitely Delacroix, bless his heart, his execution was horrific.
Oh my God,
it was so horrific.
Bad. And like the family of the people who
because of Percy,
that he was supposed to have killed, like the family members that were sitting there watching them, they were like, oh, and like they're screaming and crying, and they're like leaving. They're crying because of this man getting like electrocuted.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then you're seeing, you know, it's a lot, but it's so good. So I've watched The Green Mile as well, even this weekend, you know, just trying to watch and prepare and things like that. Like, I've watched it Ooh, probably. And,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I have the DVD. Let's put it
Yeah,
that way.
I think I did the DVD.
The
yeah.
DVD.
I think that I've watched it. I think I might have watched it more than I've watched Tropic Thunder, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And the one thing is, there is a guy. His name is Toot, and he is like the I don't know, like the cleaning guy. I mean,
Yeah.
well, he's in prison, but he's the guy who they give rights to. So he'll run the movies, he'll clean, he'll do whatever. He just wants freedom.
I think that what he is I think he's from not the maximum facility. I think he's from the minimum facility.
Right, and they just let him come over and
they
do
let him
things.
come over and do stuff, yeah.
And so when somebody is getting ready to go to the chair, what they'll do is have them go out, maybe meet with their family, do whatever.
Yeah, and then I think they have their last meal.
Yep, and then they have it where Toot comes in, and he pretends to be that person so they can do a run-through. So he's like, walk in the mile, dead man walk in the mile, and he just goes through, and it's so funny.
Saying my prayers.
Yeah, exactly. Eating my last meal, whatever. And then he's sitting in the chair, and they're acting like they're like roll on one and cutting on the electricity, and roll on two means the shock is coming to you, and it's roll on two. And he just acts silly and is like, he's screaming and yelling, I'm a done-tongue turkey. And he's just like so hilarious.
I know, but that is the comic relief out of it.
That is the comic relief in such a serious, drama-filled, movie. And so he was hilarious. And you'll recognize him, too. He's been in so many different things. Yeah. But then, Paul is like, look, y'all, we can't laugh because Delacroix's going to be sitting in that seat any minute.
You got to stop laughing now because he said, well, once you think about this tomorrow.
When we're really doing this. And somebody who is literally getting ready to die and you thinking of this and start laughing, But then, But anyway, such a good movie. So if you haven't watched The Green Mile, I highly, highly recommend it. It has a wonderful reviews and just deep layers to it, which are amazing.
It's really good. I do like it. Like it.
Exactly. So, So that is it for this week's episode of Sestra-Tainment. Thanks, everybody, for your time, and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.